Hey, what's up guys, AirsoftMan819 here with another review. Sorry if I haven't been posting a lot of videos lately. A couple weeks back I got really pissed off and threw my camera across the room for an undisclosed reason. But I threw my camera across the room with the tripod still attached to it. And unfortunately the tripod was destroyed and my camera was nearly destroyed. It knocked the screen on my camera pretty loose, but my camera still works, but the tripod is pretty much done. So I have to improvise to make videos. So I finally found a way today to improvise to make this video. So I am going to get a new tripod, and my videos will come back to normal. But for now I have to film them in this kind of like first-person perspective where the camera's directly in front of what I'm reviewing instead of overhead. So today's review is going to be on the GTRON SNES USB controller. It's basically a I can't talk today. It's basically a Super Nintendo controller for a PC or Mac. Allows you to play your PC emulators with a actual Super Nintendo controller, well, at least something that's modeled after the original Super Nintendo controller. I bought two of these on eBay for about $14-15 bucks. I have read a couple reviews online, I watched a couple reviews on YouTube, and they seemed decent enough to pick up, and I really wasn't too disappointed with them. I did have one issue that a lot of people seem to have, but the good thing is it's a pretty easy issue to fix. So we'll just take a look at the box real quick. Pretty standard retail packaging. Just says SNES USB, 9-foot USB cable, Windows, Mac, GTRON. On the back it says, this controller features 8 quality buttons designed to deliver you adrenaline-packed gameplay right at your fingertips. Relive all those great moments at the comfort of your own PC. Sorry, I was reading that through the camera lens and it wasn't very easy. So it says designed in the USA, and then it says made in China, so I don't know. I guess it might have been designed here and then made in China, I'm not sure. And inside the box all you get is the controller wrapped in plastic bags, so nothing too special there. Okay, so let's get the box out of the way and take a look at the controller itself real quick. Here it is. This is the GTRON Super Nintendo USB Gamepad. As you can see, it pretty much looks just like a Super Nintendo controller. It's missing the Nintendo logo here, and I do believe it's a little bit smaller. If it isn't smaller, it feels smaller. It's kind of contoured a little differently. It kind of starts thick here at the top and kind of thins out the farther down you get. I don't think the original Super Nintendo controller is like that. If it is, please let me know, but I'm pretty sure that it stays the same thickness the whole way, but this controller seems to like thin down the farther down you get, which isn't a bad thing. It's a fairly comfortable controller, and it works fairly well. You have your pretty standard 4-button layout. You have B, A, Y, and X. The B and A button are convex, while the Y and X are concave. You can kind of take a look at those real quick. They're not the worst buttons, but they're also not the best. They work just fine, though. They click fairly well. You have your start and select, which are rubber. On some of the cheaper models of the USB controller, they are plastic, but on this one they are rubber, which I like. You have your D-pad, which was the main focus of my issue that I had with this controller, and I'll talk about that in just a sec. You have your L and R buttons, the shoulder buttons. They work fairly well. Never had any problems with them. They do feel a little bit mushy for my liking, but they do work. On the back of the controller is really nothing there except made in China. And this little black X I put here, there's a reason I put that there, and I'll explain in a second. So like I said, the only main issue I had with the controller was the D-pad. And apparently it's an issue a lot of people have had. But fortunately, it is easy to fix. Some people don't know how to fix it, so they automatically think the controller is junk and return it, which is unfortunate, but the issue is easy to fix. Basically, the D-pad just wouldn't go left. I was playing F-Zero, which is a racing game, and I was trying to turn left, and I couldn't, and I crashed into the wall and exploded. So it's a pretty easy fix. What you got to do is you have to take the controller apart, take out these 5 screws here. And when they molded the plastic for the D-pad piece here, some of the moldings weren't sanded down or cut down correctly, so there's a bit of extra plastic left on the left side of the D-pad, and all I did was take a file and file that off, and I put the D-pad back in, and what do you know, it worked. So this thing is made in China. It's not made by Nintendo, it's made by some third-party company, and the quality control on these isn't really good, so you can get one that works and one that doesn't work, which is pretty much what happened to me. One of the controllers worked just fine, and the other one didn't go left. The reason I put this X on here was so I could remember that this is the one I had trouble with, because the other one doesn't have the X, so that's why I put the X there. The external build quality overall is fairly well, fairly good, I should say, proper English. Doesn't creak in your hands too badly. It feels fairly solid. You can kind of push on it. It'll give just a little bit, but nothing too bad. Like I said, all the buttons work well. I never had any problems with the buttons themselves. I didn't have any issues with the computer recognizing the controller. You pretty much just plug it in, give it a few minutes to install the software that's built into it, and you're ready to go. They gave you 9 feet of USB wire, which is more than enough. They were very generous with the wire. Ends in the standard USB plug. Plugs nicely into the computer. I didn't have any trouble with that at all. I'm not sure if it works with anything else. I'm not sure if it works with the Xbox 360 or the PS3. I would venture to say no, but you might get lucky. I'm not sure. I haven't tried it. So overall, it's a fairly good quality controller for what you pay. I paid roughly 15, 16 bucks for both controllers. And other than the D-pad issue, they work fine. When the D-pad is fixed, it works fairly well. It's not quite as tight and responsive as the original Nintendo one, but it does work fairly well, and it's fairly clicky, which really isn't a problem. So yeah, GTRON, Super Nintendo USB controller. Personally, I do not own a real Super Nintendo right now. I have owned them in the past, but right now I don't. And I was getting kind of, what am I trying to say here? I was starting to miss playing Super Nintendo because there was a lot of good games for the Super Nintendo that I enjoyed playing that I haven't played in years. So I just decided to pick this up, and obviously the other one, and relive some of those Super Nintendo memories on my emulator. I'm not really a big fan of emulators. I would recommend playing the games on the original systems, but this will have to do for now. And it is a fairly high quality controller, and I would definitely recommend buying it, other than the D-pad issue. But if you want to know how to fix that, and you want a little bit of a tutorial, just let me know and I'll help you out. So this has been my review of the GTRON Super Nintendo USB controller. Thanks for watching, guys.